No DQ Galaxy. We are live with a recap of Friday Night Smackdown for May the 5th, 2023. WWE Backlash is this weekend, and WWE kicked us off with Smackdown in Puerto Rico. What a crowd, what an atmosphere. Before we get started, Walter Cruz sent in a $5 super chat. Thank you, Walter. Says, man, this crowd was awesome. The Raw After Mania crowd should be ashamed of themselves. Anyways, say yes to no DQ. Like and share the video. Hashtag stick to my shtick. Appreciate that, Walter. This was a Raw After WrestleMania like crowd. As Matthew pointed out in the chat room, one of the best crowds for a WWE show in a long time, right up there with Montreal as far as great crowds go. Shout outs to the early birds: Omar, Mohammed, LaShawn, Joey Perez, Randy, David is a Beastly. Thank you all for tuning in early. Now, we kicked off SmackDown with Rey Mysterio and the LWO. I wanted to point out for SmackDown a little bit different look for the show. They used a drone camera for some crowd shots, sold out crowd, and no traditional Titantron stage setup. We just had essentially the Royal Rumble and SummerSlam minimal entranceway, just in a traditional arena setting. You had a little screen where the wrestlers came out of. It felt like a mini pay-per-view almost. Very nice change of pace here. I'm always a fan of doing something different. Felt a little bit like an old school WWF show back in the mid 90s before they actually introduced the Titantron. Rey Mysterio talked in Spanish, got heavily cheered, and as you would expect, Judgment Day minus Damian Priest showed up to crash the party. Dominik said Rey is still a deadbeat dad, and once again, anytime Dominik tried to talk, he got interrupted by the fans just booing him very intensely. Rey Mysterio wanted a WrestleMania rematch, but then Rhea Ripley got in Rey's face, and then Zelina got in Rhea's face, and Dominik suggested a tag team match for the main event, which Rey Mysterio did accept, and Dominik took a little cheap shot before Judgment Day left the ring. Crowd was red hot for this. Nice start to the show, setting up the main event. And we had our first match of the evening, which was the Good Brothers versus the Viking Raiders with AJ Styles on commentary. Crowd was hot for this match. They were into everything on this show. They were like a top tier AEW crowd, how hot they were for everything on this show. WWE should really go back to Puerto Rico more often with these types of crowds. They were also doing the counting in Spanish when wrestlers would go for the punches, and when there was a pin attempt, the crowd would count in Spanish. You had Michin and Sarah Logan on the outside of the ring. Things got heated with them, and the match went back and forth for a little bit. Eric ended up tagging in, trading blows with Gallows, the two big men. Eric took Gallows down, and then Ivar came off the top with a big splash, but Karl Anderson broke up the pin, and then Sarah Logan tried to get involved. Michin stopped her, and Good Brothers picked up the win with the Magic Killer. Match was nothing special. It was fairly standard, but the lively crowd really added to the atmosphere here. Caleb Jacobs sent in a $3.04 super chat. Thank you for that. Caleb says, Dominik is just an ungrateful man. Dominik is a little brat. That is for sure. Thank you for that, Caleb Jacobs. And Mohammed, Drew McIntyre has been drafted to Raw, and he's also dealing with a reported injury, and also there's the talk about his contract. But the next time we see him, theoretically, should be on Monday Night Raw. Could be in a few weeks. Michael sent in a $2 super chat. Thank you for that, Michael. Says, Aaron, Veer Mahan and Indus Sher are coming. Well, now, stop the presses if Veer Mahan is coming once again. That means Jinder Mahal's coming back. Is Shanky coming back? I do not care. I have little to no interest, but whatever at this point. It was a fun joke, the whole Veer Mahan thing, but I'm over it now. Time to focus on some new people as far as I'm concerned. We had Bianca Belair come into the ring for a promo. She praised Puerto Rico, talked about how after Backlash, she will break the record for the longest women's title reign of the modern era. I guess she's not even going to try to top the fabulous Moolah. The Moolah run was many years, and that's just not going to happen in today's era of wrestling. Although Roman Reigns, who knows, could end up beating Hulk Hogan's run. Hogan had the title for 4 years. If Roman makes it to SummerSlam, that'll be 3 years, which he probably will. We had Damage Control, of course, interrupting, and Bayley basically said Io Sky is going to win the women's title. Bayley and Dakota are going to win the tag team titles. SmackDown will belong to them. We had a little fight. Bianca was on her own, 1 versus 3. Held her own for a while, but of course the numbers game did catch up with her. But fortunately, she has some friends. Raquel and Liv Morgan, the tag team champions, ran down to make the save. So yeah, as I said on the predictions video, which you can watch over at youtube.com/AaronRiffNoDQ, our Backlash predictions, nothing's changing for me. My predictions, I'm keeping them locked in. Io Sky is not winning that title. Highly, highly, highly unlikely in all likelihood. We had a Karrion Kross video package to hype up his match against Shinsuke Nakamura. Solo Sikoa was also backstage with the Usos talking about their backlash match. And Solo said that he will do his part. And he warned the Usos, his brothers, to do their part. We had the Street Profits versus Imperium. Unfortunately, this could have been a great match if they were given time, but it was very much just a filler match. Quick squash, not much to say about it. Street Profits won, only 2 or 3 minutes long. Very short match. I mean, they really jobbed out Imperium here, but I guess since they're leaving the territory, they quickly put over the Street Profits, and it'll be a new era for Imperium starting Monday on Raw. So it is what it is. Just a filler match with these guys. Not much else to say. We had a Cody Rhodes and Brock Lesnar video package, and then Cody Rhodes came to the ring for a promo. He asked the crowd in Spanish, "What do you want to talk about?" He talked about Lesnar, of course, how Lesnar is the gatekeeper to the kingdom. Cody still wants to know why Brock Lesnar picked a fight with him, and he's going to beat the answer out of Brock Lesnar. Cody said that he will bring the pain to Lesnar at Backlash, and then we'll get back on the road to finishing his story. The game is on 100, sent in a $2 super chat. Actually, Trish has had a longer record than Bianca, LOL. Well, maybe Trish Stratus isn't even considered the modern era at this point. Who knows? Because the modern era, wouldn't that be the women's revolution era? The Divas era is a different era. I don't know. I'm not even going to try to explain it because I don't know off the top of my head how long Trish held that title, so not even going to bother. Building Nexus with a $2 super chat. Thank you for that. Says Cody Brock 2 at Night of Champions. Well, one idea that I saw people bringing up, maybe Brock Lesnar injures Cody Rhodes in the Backlash match, and Cody is unable to compete in the little tournament they're doing. Now, here's something that's odd to me. This is supposed to be a Raw exclusive title, but SmackDown people are going to have an opportunity to win the title. They're doing a mini tournament on Raw and a mini tournament on SmackDown, and the two winners, one from Raw, one from SmackDown, will face at Night of Champions. A SmackDown guy will be competing for this new Raw title. Now, of course, I think it just means whoever wins, if it's somebody from SmackDown, they're just going to be drafted over to Monday Night Raw. But, like, why? If it's for a Raw title, let people on Raw compete. Is this WWE's way of trying to say that Raw doesn't have enough main event talent to do this tournament? Like, I don't get it. Very odd to me that SmackDown people are even in this tournament to begin with, but whatever. Unless Roman Reigns ends up in it and Roman wins his tournament and then goes on to face Cody and Cody gets his win, like they could do that. Maybe Cody is injured by Brock Lesnar. And I would be very disappointed if they did a DQ at Backlash. I really hope they do not go that route, just putting that out there on record. We had, and by the way, the Cody promo was good. Standard Cody promo, but good stuff. And we had Matt Riddle, KO, Sami Zayn backstage promo. Riddle was talking a lot, saying that after Backlash, Roman Reigns will not have a bloodline to return to. Roman Reigns is returning next week, so business will pick up. The champ making his once-a-month obligation to show up on TV. We had Karrion Kross versus Shinsuke Nakamura. Pretty solid match here, back and forth match, competitive. Karrion Kross powerbombed Shin into the ring post and did some trash talking, said that Nakamura is the king of trash, but that fired up Shin with some kicks, but then Scarlett got on the apron, provided the distraction. Kross got the upper hand for a while. Doomsday suplex, Shin kicked out. Kross went for the cross jacket, but Nakamura got out. And Kross was able to counter the Kinshasa with a clothesline, went for the cross hammer, but Shin avoided it. And then Shin finally hit the Kinshasa and picked up the win. Karrion Kross taking another L here. Feels like they got no direction for this guy. At least with Nakamura, they seem to be giving him a bit of a renewed push. And he was very over in Puerto Rico. The crowd was singing his song. I just feel bad for Kross because they got nothing going for the guy. He seems very flat at this point. When he first came back, I was thinking maybe they could put him in with Roman Reigns, but now I'm like, nah. I think I feel like they've really. I'm not sure if Kross just hasn't made the connection with the fans or if they're not pushing him strong enough, but whatever it is, it hasn't worked out too well for Karrion Kross, unfortunately. We had a video package for the NXT superstars coming to SmackDown. I like this, introducing the mainstream audience to the NXT stars rather than just throwing them out there with no hype and no build. Cameron Grimes was backstage with Adam Pearce, and Baron Corbin interrupted. Baron Corbin still a heel, still doing the boring Corbin gimmick, and they were going back and forth. Corbin was making fun of Grimes for being the last pick in the draft, but then Grimes responded by saying Corbin wasn't even picked at all. Corbin was like, he is a free agent, a hot commodity, just like Brock Lesnar, which I guess technically is true, right? And Grimes ended up challenging Corbin to a match on next week's SmackDown. So Corbin going to likely be putting over Cameron Grimes. They really got to turn Corbin face. Like, what are they doing with the guy? We had our main event match of the evening, which was a mixed tag team match. Rey Mysterio and Zelina Vega going up against Rhea Ripley and Dominik Mysterio. Rhea Ripley and Zelina went at it for a while. Zelina was using her speed to her advantage, even came off the top with a Hurricane Rana. Then Rey and Dominik tagged in. Rey and Zelina worked together a little bit, but then Rhea Ripley came in and prevented Zelina from hitting a 619 on Dominik. And then Dominik ended up pulling Rey off the apron. Judgment Day had the upper hand for a while, but then Rhea got sent into the ring post. Rey Mysterio got a hot tag. Things started to break down. 619 to Dominik. And then, of course, as you would expect, Finn Balor gets on the apron. Dominik takes advantage, starts doing the Eddie Guerrero suplexes, but he went for a third one, and Rey countered it into a pin, got the win, but was immediately attacked by Finn Balor. Rey started to fight off Judgment Day, but then, of course, Damian Priest showed up. We all knew this was coming. They advertised Bad Bunny in advance, so it's like, you know, Bad Bunny is showing up at the end here. Like, this was painfully obvious what was going to happen here. Bad Bunny, of course, does show up with the LWO. He had a kendo stick. There was a huge brawl, NWO and Judgment Day. A face-off between Bad Bunny and Damian Priest. Bunny got in the ring, and then Dominik tried to go for a cheap shot. He got hit with a kendo stick, and Damian Priest fled the ring. Nice ending to set up the match in Puerto Rico for Backlash. And Bad Bunny was over like crazy. Like, the place exploded, almost like a Steve Austin level pop when Bad Bunny came out there. And Walter Cruz, he said the same thing here, sent in $5. Thank you for that, Walter. Says, Bad Bunny got a pop that rivals The Rock, Stone Cold, and Bret Hart in Canada. I literally had to turn my surround sound off. It was loud when Bad Bunny showed up. Yeah, for sure. And Bad Bunny put on the LWO shirt. And funny thing is, he had a jacket that had the old WWF logo, WWF, World Wildlife Fund, WWF logo. Whoops. But yeah, that was a strong ending to the show. And there was some filler. You had video packages, you had promos just hitting home the final storyline points going into the show. But overall, the crowd atmosphere, like, this was a totally unique SmackDown because of the Puerto Rico atmosphere. And it was a lot of fun, and it built up Backlash. I mean, I'm definitely more hyped than I was beforehand. Like, the crowd alone is going to be red hot for this. So I'm actually going to go A- for this SmackDown, just because of the novelty of being in Puerto Rico. Was it the best written SmackDown of all time? No. Did it have the best matches? No. But I think for atmosphere and as far as buildup goes, I think it was really solid. It was a strong show. Definitely worth checking out. Like, I feel like the majority of the show is worth watching. Like, the matches, even if they're not the greatest matches of all time, the crowd atmosphere really brought up the show. And people always say, like, you put so much emphasis on the crowd. Well, to me, the crowd can make or break a show. And watching those pandemic shows, it was so difficult without the fans. To me, that era really exposed and made a point about how important the fans are to the actual show. Like if they're not invested and if they're not there, like it's hard to have a show. Like you can still do the matches and it's still watchable, but the audience really adds to the atmosphere, and they definitely did on this show. So it was a lot of fun, really fun SmackDown, and it did what it needed to do as far as building up Backlash. So NoDQ.com will have live coverage of Backlash, and Dwayne Atkinson wants to know if Bad Bunny and Damian Priest will be main eventing. You know what? If Brock Lesnar is beating Cody, I'd put that match on first. You know, Walter Cruz brought it up. Brock Lesnar likes to come in, and if he's not on last, he's on first type of deal. Brock can come in, beat Cody, and they can end the show with a happy ending, because we all know Bad Bunny's going to win. At least I'm very confident of it. I mean, nothing's 100%, but I'd be shocked if he lost. They could put that match on last. Bad Bunny wins, send the fans home happy. So they could definitely do that. And I'm still not confident about Brock beating Cody. That match is, to me, the hardest one to predict. Like I could see it going either way, definitely. Anyways, thank you all for tuning in. NoDQ.com for live results coverage. And I will be back on the YouTube channel after the show, youtube.com/AaronRiff, NoDQ. Tell a friend. Michael Wayne, tell a friend. Mr. Mayhem 69, tell a friend. Dynamic Thrills, tell a friend. Biblical Adrian, tell a friend. Leatherface, tell a friend. You guys got friends? Tell them about the channel. Spread the word, spread the love. Anything you can do is much appreciated. On that note, I'm out for the night. Have a great one, everyone. Take care. Peace and love to everybody out there. And remember, say yes to NoDQ.com, and I will see you all next time.